All right, today we're going to be talking about Technology Elevated's Smart Carb, the SC2. We've got a 36 millimeter installed on our 2020 300 Race Edition. We've had it installed, gosh, since December. But really just recently had a chance to test it on this particular vehicle. We've tested this carburetor on so many different Beta 300 two-strokes, various years of the cross trainer with and without oil injection, as well as Beta's 300 RR and Race Edition with and without oil injection. We wanted to do a test with this bike simply to round out a very lengthy review that we're writing for the Smart Carb. So we'll just start riding. Something that has been very consistent with all of the Smart Carbs that we've installed on our Betas is just how quickly the thing starts. It's I mean, the Betas just in general have been very quick to start, jetted nicely, of course, and the high CCA lithium batteries that they have on them now. But there's something that's just interesting and crisp about these. We're going to do a slow speed test right now. Literally starts right up. We've got our 300 in the cloudy map right now, and you know, idle is hovering right around that 1600 RPM, 17. You know, it looks like it jumps up to 18 every once in a while, but right around 1700 is where we like to have it in this particular map. You'll notice that it's just very responsive. But also when you're lugging it, there's just no hesitation in the bottom. Double tree here. It's just, if you've got to stab it, it's there. There's another double tree. It's almost effortless. The power is just there immediately, right when you give it just a little bit. You know, our factory carb, you know, it can do that. It just seemed like we had to give it a little bit more clutch, throttle to get that responsiveness down low. Fast guys. So literally just the slightest bit of throttle input and it's just right there. No bog, no nothing. We could stab it and lift the front wheel off the ground. You know, some of the complaints about a few of the other intelligent carburetors out there is that, you know, your bottom end suffers quite a bit, that it's noticeable. And since we've been running these carbs, that has just been not the case for us, not on the SC2. If anything, it's lifted the whole power range upward, almost like you installed a new exhaust, you know, a higher flowing exhaust. It's pretty incredible. So another good, you know, low throttle test for us is pivot turns. You know, for those of you that can do them out there, you know that it's a nice marriage between clutch control, throttle control, and responsiveness of your bike. And we've got the SC2 is just there. So that does it for our low speed test. We're going to kind of go out to this sand track and do a high speed test. So here we are on this sand track. I definitely won't be ripping around this thing, at least the whole track itself, but wanted to do kind of a higher speed throttle response test with this SC2, just so you guys can hear the bike and how well it responds. For starters, we're gonna go ahead and crank it up, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the sunny map. You know, a lot of people will argue that the map switch on the betas doesn't make a difference. I can say that nearly every beta we've had and ridden has made a difference. That button makes a difference to us. And it definitely does here. So we're going to do a couple of high-speed rips and going through the gears, and just so you guys can hear it. Woo. So we're in third, I'd say, right now. Putting along, and then you can stab it. No bog at all. We're gonna get in second and just creep. Clutch is all the way out, stab. Stab. It's just nice and crisp. As most of you know, this kind of riding is just not my thing, but simply wanted you to hear what the carb, with the motor, how it's reacting to these just low speed crawls, roll, stab. Just no hesitation. And that does it for the high-speed test. Adjusting this thing is incredibly easy. I mean, so for those of you that don't 100% understand how these carburetors work, there's something that's called a metering rod. Now, the metering rod looks very similar to a standard carburetor's needle, and the smart carb, you can actually raise that metering rod to richen things, or you can lean it out by lowering it. And you do that with this adjuster right here. It's a little plunger right here. You twist the throttle all the way with the bike off, of course, and then this clicks into the top of the metering rod, and you rotate it counterclockwise to richen, or I'm sorry, to lean, and then clockwise to richen. And that's it. I mean, that's how you tune the carburetor. And that's really what you do first. This is what's called the ISS, the idle set screw. That's the very last ultra fine tuning part of this carburetor. You know, if it's not idling right, this is the first place that people want to go, because it's naturally where most idles on most carbs are. But in fact, it's not. You know, obviously, yes, this does change your idle, but to get your smart carb dialed in perfectly, you want to use the metering rod first, and then you do some fine tuning. For example, this particular carb, we ended up leaning it out about 6 clicks, and we increased the ISS a quarter of a turn. The reason for that is we noticed that the just 0 to, gosh, 1/8 of a throttle just needed to crispen up a little bit. And that's just basically lifting the slide just a hair, getting a little bit more air under there. And so we did a quarter of a turn, and boom, it went away. You know, if you're new to these carburetors, that could take a little while, I guess, to figure out like what specifically you need to do. I mean, we've sold and installed dozens of these at this point, and we kind of knew after setting these up with that just tiny little thing on the bottom end from, or not bottom end, but 0 to 8 throttle, this ISS 1/4 turn clockwise would do the trick. And it did. So in less than 10 minutes, we had it perfectly tuned. I guess that's about it, folks. At least for now. We'll talk to you later.